Scott Disick is determined to break the cycle of addiction and offer his son Mason a better path when it comes to alcohol and life choices. In a candid conversation on the inaugural episode of Khloé and Wonderland podcast, the 41-year-old media personality opened up about his relationship with his 15-year-old son, discussing the difficult yet necessary topic of alcohol abuse and how it has affected his life. His commitment to preventing his son from following in his footsteps is evident in his honest and ongoing conversations with Mason. Scott, who has long been known for his time on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, has faced significant struggles with alcohol throughout his adult life. His past experiences with drinking and its consequences have shaped the way he wants to parent his children, particularly Mason, his oldest son, with ex-partner Kourtney Kardashian. Reflecting on his struggles with alcohol, Scott shared his goal to help his son avoid repeating the mistakes he made. He said, "I do explain to Mason how drinking affected me and how badly it put me in certain places, and he knows that." In a world where addiction is often ignored or stigmatized, Scott's approach of open communication with his son aims to provide Mason with the knowledge and understanding of the potential dangers alcohol can bring. One of the most significant aspects of their conversations is Scott's candid admission about his past, including the way drinking has impacted his relationships, mental health, and his overall life journey. He acknowledged that his son, like most teenagers, will eventually be exposed to alcohol and might experiment with it. "I said if I see a problem with alcohol with you, I will take action. But other than that, you're just like every other kid. You're gonna try drinking when you're gonna try drinking," Scott shared with Khloé Kardashian, his close friend and the host of the podcast. While Scott accepts that Mason will likely face peer pressure and eventually make the decision to try alcohol, he emphasized that he would intervene if he saw signs of a problem stemming from hereditary tendencies. "If I see a problem that might be hereditary, then I'll jump in," he said, reiterating his commitment to being proactive in helping Mason avoid the same pitfalls he faced. Scott's openness about his personal experiences and how they shape his parenting highlights his desire to guide his son without being overly controlling. He wants Mason to be aware of the consequences of excessive drinking but also acknowledges the reality that experimentation with alcohol is a normal part of growing up for many teenagers. Scott also discussed his decision to quit drinking entirely, noting that he has checked himself into rehab multiple times over the years to combat his addiction. His decision to stop drinking was not just a choice for his own well-being, but a decision that would ultimately affect his family, particularly his children. "I quit drinking," Scott said during the episode. His decision to remain sober was not only a reflection of his past struggles but also a conscious decision to set a healthier example for his children, especially Mason, who is reaching an age where alcohol can become a more prominent part of social life. In addition to the important conversations about alcohol, Scott also shared some fatherly advice he's been giving Mason, who is at the age where he is beginning to show interest in girls. Scott revealed that he has offered dating advice to his son, emphasizing the importance of honesty and integrity in relationships. One of the key pieces of advice Scott shared with Mason is the importance of avoiding manipulation and dishonesty. "I've taught him to not lie and manipulate any girls," he explained, expressing his concern about how Mason navigates relationships at this age. The topic of dating, like that of alcohol, is one that many parents find difficult to discuss with their children, especially as they begin to explore their independence and enter new social spheres. Scott's focus on encouraging honesty and respect in relationships is a reflection of his broader parenting philosophy, which is rooted in openness, trust, and mutual understanding. While some parents may shy away from giving dating advice, Scott sees it as an essential part of Mason's development as a young man. Throughout the podcast, Scott continued to emphasize that he was trying to avoid making Mason feel restricted, but instead, he wanted to guide him in a way that would protect him from the harmful behaviors Scott himself had experienced. He spoke candidly about how he was trying to find a balance between being a supportive and understanding father and maintaining healthy boundaries. The conversation highlighted the reality of parenting in the public eye, where personal struggles and family dynamics are often exposed. Scott's willingness to share such vulnerable details about his life shows his dedication to being the best father he can be to Mason and his younger children. Scott's parenting style reflects a more modern approach to raising children, where communication and understanding play central roles. Rather than relying on authoritarian methods, Scott aims to provide Mason with the tools to make informed decisions while still offering guidance and support. This approach aligns with his belief that children, especially teenagers, need to understand the reasons behind the rules and advice given to them. By fostering an environment where open discussion is encouraged, Scott hopes to provide Mason with the confidence to navigate difficult decisions on his own, knowing that his father is there to help when needed. Despite his public persona as a reality star, Scott is committed to creating a healthier and more stable environment for his children. The responsibility of being a parent has made him more reflective about his own life choices, especially considering how his past experiences with addiction have affected him and his loved ones. In talking about his struggles, Scott has shown that he is not defined by his past mistakes, but rather by his desire to create a better future for his family. His relationship with Mason, rooted in honesty and transparency, demonstrates how parenting can be an ongoing process of growth, learning, and understanding. As the conversation turned to Mason's future, Scott spoke about his aspirations for his son, emphasizing that while Mason may face challenges, he wants him to grow up with the knowledge and support to make better decisions than Scott did at his age. His approach to parenting is reflective of his own journey toward personal growth and his commitment to breaking generational cycles of addiction and unhealthy behavior. "I want him to have a better life than I had," Scott said, echoing his desire to provide his children with the opportunities and tools to succeed in all aspects of their lives. Ultimately, Scott Disick's honest approach to parenting, particularly in his conversations with Mason about alcohol, addiction, and relationships, shows a deep commitment to helping his son avoid the same pitfalls he has faced in his life. His transparency about his struggles and his willingness to engage in difficult conversations highlights the importance of setting a strong, supportive foundation for children. Whether discussing alcohol or dating, Scott's parenting philosophy is centered on understanding, compassion, and guidance, giving Mason the chance to make his own choices while knowing his father is always there to help him navigate life's challenges.